Hey everyone, Dave Putz from JKP Holdings. Good afternoon. Mr. Nathan Turner was next to me. How are you?
Hello, hello. Very good, very good.
Awesome. It's good to connect. We had a great session last 2 weeks ago. We talked about a lot of awesome stuff. I would definitely recommend anyone who missed it, take a look at the podcast, the YouTube channel, whatever, you can get a hold of that. Recently, things have kind of started to change for me. We're seeing some new product that are coming from different areas. I know that recently we got a pool of assets. We talked to Paper Source with a gentleman about some seller finance stuff that's coming about, which kind of lends to what we talked with Tracy about the seller finance world being something that's growing.
It is. It's an interesting time, and we'll one of the cool things about notes is it's very easy to pivot.
Yeah.
So if seller financing notes are more available and that looks better, do that. I'm also buying some reverse mortgages right now.
Ooh.
They're available, so I'm doing that. And it just you can pretty easily just kind of go back and forth, and whatever's available, whatever works at the time. That's good.
Yeah. One thing about seller financing and notes in general is understanding the numbers. I want to let everyone know that I'm going to run a spreadsheet training course for everyone, just to understand how to create a partial yield calculator. I could post it to whoever wants it, but it's going to be a 2-3 hour. You're going to create your own spreadsheet to understand time value, understand the formulas, and get away from this brick and mortar financial calculator that some people find confusing, where you can plug and play numbers on a spreadsheet, right? For me, I like the spreadsheet. It's not as grand as a calculator, but I think spreadsheets make a lot of things easier for newer investors to kind of grasp. Deal flow and deals, what's going on with you? We bought a few partials recently. We've actually looked at a few performing notes we purchased, and then there's 2 non-performing notes that we kind of back and forth on that I may not go with.
Yeah.
What's been with you? What's been going on with you?
I've got these. It's a few different reverse mortgages. Another. Just a kind of a regular first mortgage, and then I sold a couple of the loans that I've been holding on to, just because it's time, and I'm selling off stuff and getting everything kind of going into the fund, and so we're
awesome
winding down and building up at the same time. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. For those who are interested, we had a comment. Just go to JKP Holdings /spreadsheet-calculator training, and we'll go through it. And I'll be talking to Nathan afterwards. We have some really cool stuff that's going to be coming about for September. So tune in for that kind of information. It'll be a training course. But with that said, seller financing notes, we both came from the institutional world. We did some lease options. The seller finance notes is the Wild West that we thought we walked into when we bought into notes. Notes was like this Wild West theory for a long time. And then we got to grasp at it. And then you walk into seller finance notes. I feel like I'm back to the Wild West on just different things.
I like seller finance. That's the same thing. That's kind of where I got my start. Is at the very beginning, I was creating notes, and I was doing seller finance, and so that was an interesting learning curve, figuring out how to write paper and how to make it a good piece of paper to be able to resell if I choose to in the future.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan. There's all kinds of fun ways that people put them together, and they're a little bit goofy sometimes, but I mean, people are paying.
Yes.
Sometimes that's all that matters.
Yeah. So without further ado, we have gentlemen here that's going to be tuning in with us. And if you don't know Jeff, get to know him. He's a wealth of information. His experience is no other. He's been doing notes for a long time, since the 80s, I know, right? And we ran into him at Paper Source. His knowledge is amazing, but he's a seller finance person, right? This is his bread and butter.
Yeah. I admire Jeff's analytical skills to look at it and treat this like a real business, like a real project, and something that can be tweaked, and you can look at different things and what works and what doesn't work. And I like that approach. I like, kind of the systematic approach to it. That's good.
So Jeff, welcome, man. How are you?
Yes, sir. Hello, guys. How are you? I'm doing good.
Good. Well, let's start from the beginning. We all start where we're at today. Some people that's overwhelming, some people it's exciting. Where did you get started with real estate and how'd you get into notes? And if you can keep it under 4 hours, it'd be great.
Yeah, that's the trick here. Well, let's see. Long story short, when I was 19, I purchased my first property, a triplex. I lived in one unit, rented out the other two, covered the mortgage. I learned that and I purchased that property at 19. I decided when I was young, about 15 and a half years old, I read the book, Think and Grow Rich. Someone gave it to me, and that's like the cornerstone of my success for sure. And in reading that book, I decided about 16 years old that I would never be a renter. I'd own. When I moved out, I was going to own and buy something. So I bought my first property when I was 19, a triplex, lived in one unit, rented out the other two. And then from there, I purchased and lived in and fixed up and moved several times. By the time I was 25, I had 27 doors. At 25 years old, I had 27 doors.
Nice.
And I was taking care of them all myself. We're talking within, a half hour driving distance of my house. And being a landlord, I know it all. We can go over stories with that another time, but landlording is not all it's cracked up to be, and neither is rental cash flow. A lot of people tout, hey, I got a rental property, the expenses are $1,200 a month and I'm getting $1,500 a month, and that's $300 a month positive cash flow until something happens, right? Until the water heater breaks and there goes 4 months, 5 months of cash flow, or a bigger expense comes up. So I was always, people think, oh my God, 27 doors, you must have been rolling in it. No, I was barely making ends meet, keeping all the maintenance on all the properties, covering, 18 different mortgages and doing what I had to do. And there had to be a better way. Went to a boot camp seminar. You guys know these dog and pony shows, right? You go to them free, come learn how to be a millionaire. And so I went to dozens and dozens of those. I tried everything. I was an entrepreneur in a mindset, and I still am. And I went to this one, and the guy said, "Be the bank, not the landlord." And I was like, I don't have to be a landlord? What? Went back to the room within 20 minutes, signed up, $7,500 5-day boot camp, right?
Yeah.
Called in sick for a week. I was working at Ralph's grocery store in Southern California since I was 15 and a half. And at 25, I went to this boot camp and it changed the direction of my life. I was like, oh my God, this is for me. Now, if there were 200 plus other people in that class, after about 6 months, nobody was around anymore. They went off to the next shiny object. But I knew in my heart of hearts that this seller finance note business was for me. At first, brokering notes, and then eventually to buy them and be the bank.
Yeah.
And that's the short story of how I got into it.
Wow.
How's that?
What year was this?
This was 1991. Yeah, started
Awesome.
in May of 91. So I just had my 31-year anniversary last month.
Oh,
And I do nothing else. I don't invest in anything else. No stocks, no crypto, no, nothing else, just notes. It's all about the cash flow. Sold off all the properties, carried back notes on some, got cash to buy notes with others, built up the portfolio. Life happens, got a divorce, lost everything, started over, and building it back up. It's been 11 years since the divorce, but still got to build it back up to where it was. And I know how to do it. So it's been nothing happens overnight. And to grow businesses and to start these. And I'm glad you mentioned too, Nathan, that it is a business. We're not going after it like it's a business. We're going after it as it's a business. It is a business. And if you're just lollygagging around thinking that you're going to find a note by building a website, it's not going to happen that way, guys. Not in these days.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said all that. We do have some members and people who follow us are probably born after you got started, right? It's kind of
absolutely. I'm not as young as I look.
And we want to make sure people understand that where you are today and which we're going to get into is not anywhere close to where you began at, right? It's years and years of work and hard work to get into where you're at today, and the knowledge you have and experience you have. So can you, in the beginning, what were some of the hurdles you came across, the struggles that you had that they can probably relate to?